Hi, you reached Kajukenbo Live. This is Senior Grandmaster Jimenez coming from South Lake Tahoe. Today I got a very special guest. I got Grandmaster Paul Lozada out of the LA area. Grandmaster, you on the line?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Tony.
All right.
Appreciate it. It's an honor to be
Oh,
with you.
it's an honor to have you. All the stories I hear about you and everything and stuff. How's the weather in LA today?
It was pretty hot. It's about, I don't know, maybe 80 degrees. There's nothing like the Bay Area. I mean, it's nice. Well, San Francisco specifically, all nice and foggy.
Oh yeah, it's always. So yeah. So tell me about Paul Lozada, the martial artist. That's what I want to hear first.
Okay, sure, absolutely. Well, my roots began probably at the age of about 5 from my father, who's the founder of our system, uh, Coach Cully Carr, which is a blended, well, I don't say the original mixed martial art, but it was one of the original, systems that was blended. Our style of, well, coaching means Kung Fu. My dad did Hung Gar, Wing Chun style, Kung Fu, and a couple other, he'd allow us to go train with other different masters, kind of, because we all want to learn. Oh, we want to learn Choli Fut, so we did a little Choli Fut. Oh, we want to
Yeah.
do some still, Wushu. So we got a little bit of mix, but our core system was Hung Gar, five animal system, and Wing Chun. In addition to the Kali, which actually is from the Filipino martial art, it was actually Eskrima, Sarada Eskrima from Angel Caballas, who was like a third cousin to my grandpa. And
Yeah.
then, of course, karate. Our style of karate was Kyoku Shinkai, which is from Matsuyama, and it's like a more harder version of the Shotokan style of karate. And then, of course, then we did, jiu-jitsu, hapkido, Muay Thai. My dad, before he had started the martial arts, he was a boxer, but he started his training back in Korea. That was his first art that he had gotten into, and that was in the 50s, of course, during Korea. And then when he had ventured off into training with Matsuyama and all these other instructors, by the time I was born into the I don't know, I was about 5 years old, and in '67, that's when I started my brothers and I started our training with pops.
Yeah. How is your brother doing?
Oh, he's doing good, man. He's still crazy as ever, running up and down the coast, still training, working out, doing his thing.
maybe I
And he
get
works
it.
for me all.
Maybe I
What's
get
that?
him to go on an interview in it too.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. He probably keep you talking for a few hours on the phone.
Yeah.
Talk about old times, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it back in the day. You guys competing and stuff, and you know, I remember your dad. Everything. That was part of our history back then and stuff.
Absolutely, man. We were your school, our school. Everyone was part of that whole Bay Area
Yeah.
martial arts scene, we'd all, of course, our rivalries with each other and competition in the Bay. But then when we all go to Southern California, we all bind up together, and then
That's
it'd be
right.
north versus south,
You got
right?
yep, 100%. Yes, and it was still
Right?
that way. But yeah, I remember those days. Internationals, northern against the
Oh yeah.
southern.
I mean, everybody looked forward to going through those internationals, man. It was like that was the thing.
Yeah. Do you miss the tournaments and stuff? It's been a long time, but
Yeah. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. I mean, I started to when I had so back to the martial arts. So training from 5 on 67, as we started to get better. Move up in the martial art ranks. Eventually, like of course, because you and I were both in the tournament circuit, we all used to compete and do our thing.
sure.
After a while, before I went into like law enforcement, I may be skipping a little bit.
It's
I
okay.
just got kind of like I don't want to say stale, but it was just after a while, it just became the same old thing with the competition. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It wasn't
I
for
know.
myself personally. I wasn't feeling I wasn't satisfied with the training. I trained the competition. I wanted to take the arts to another level. You know what I mean? I wasn't satisfied. Going and getting into full contact. It was still it was good, but it's still regimented and with the rules and regulations. You couldn't, like your training, Kajukenbo. When you guys fight for reals, man.
Yeah,
It's not this play, this punch, wait for a guy to ring the bell. You're just ripping and clawing the face and groin shots. I mean, that's
sure.
the real. But of course, all of us had to adapt to the tournament rules because
Hmm.
you know, otherwise you'd be disqualified. And I always find myself, fighting and stuff. I'm always getting disqualified because I like to fight. You know, I'm like for real.
Yeah.
So, and that's why when we do the mixed martial art, they'll see us throw a kick, or someone throw a kick, I end up taking them down and start punching them, and you know, I can't do that technique. But you know, I knew I couldn't do the technique, but I wanted to do the technique because I wanted to test it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know, but of course, then with the katas, I was able to, you know, I like to excel in the kata, so I could just do the kata and not even worry about it. But
Yeah, I remember when you beat Cynthia Rothrock.
Was that?
I said, I remember when you beat Cynthia Rothrock.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, that kind of probably pissed off George Chung, huh?
He did. He was mad at me. I was one of the judges. I was one of the judges, and he tells me, he said, she's Cynthia Rothrock. She automatically takes first. I said, no, not this time. I go Paul beat her. He was so mad at me, he stomped up like a baby.
Yeah, well, hey, she was good. It was just my day to win.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just that's the way it is.
That wasn't. Where did that happen? It happened in Daly City, didn't it?
No, it was in the Alameda tournament.
Oh, that's Alameda. Okay.
Even Alameda, you know, and
Alameda,
she just
right.
come off her Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial, and so she, you know, they were pumping on that and stuff.
No kidding. She was in a Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial.
Yeah, well, that's where she got her start. Was she did a Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial, and she broke some bricks.
Oh, nice.
You know, and then that was I was like right then at the time that when you beat her and stuff. That's where George was more upset that day. You know, but you know, hey, that's just the way it is. But you know, but the tournament now is like I was interviewing Joey Walker from Reno, and he said the same thing. He says, you know, years ago we used to fight. Now it's like a tag game. Who plays tag? Who plays tag first? You know, there's no punching. It's just
like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then they call themselves.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And then they call themselves a world champion fighter, and all they do is play tag.
Wow. But hey, man, somebody's got to do it, right?
Yeah, I guess, you know.
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, the old school, man. Everything goes back to old school, man. We were trained from some serious masters, man, and they didn't play around, man. You remember we used to fight bare knuckle before they even had pads.
Yeah, exactly. I remember fighting California State bare knuckle.
Right? It was like, you know, maybe you put some tape on your knuckle.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, man, if you can afford it, you got yourself a pair of Shin Pads.
Yeah, I wore Shin Pads, a cup, and I used to take my hand wrapped, and we'd wrap the hell out of them with not electrical tape, but like a medical tape, so like solid as a rock. So when you hit, it hurt like hell.
Yeah, right.
Those were the
exactly. So I mean, I think the actual tournament I competed in, I got first place at it was the one in Reardon, man. It was it was in '87. I remember it was May of '87, and then from there, and that was it, man. And then I went to the police department in '83, but then I was already in the police department by '87. That was my last competition. Then I started competing in the California Police Olympics and the World Police Olympics in karate. And I had to fight dudes from wherever, Russia.
Yeah, I think Tommy Gilbert fought in that too.
What was that?
Didn't Tommy Gilbert from Oakland fight in that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Tommy did. His son Damon.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, they started. They was doing it in Hicks.
Yeah, I remember Mark Hicks.
So there's a lot of guys, man. There's a lot of guys that from Kuk Suwan with Phillips, George Phillips. There's a few guys, you know. So it was pretty good. You know, we got to get out and at least kind of carry it over to the into the police world. It was a little different. You know, these guys got a lot of egos and stuff. So you're fighting these guys. They want to knock you out. You want to knock them out.
There's a funny story. Mark Hicks, that he took his, he came over and started tramping for a while, and him and his wife were going back and forth, and she was kind of petite, but she was a good fighter, and she started wailing on him, and he yanked on her arm to throw her, and he pulled her arm out of her socket. I'm like, oh my God, he's so big, and I'm just like, so then, of course, I just called an ambulance, come get her, she was so mad at him, and they talked for like a week,
Wow.
Yeah, he pulled it right out of the socket.
Was this at your dojo in San Leandro?
Yeah, it was in San Leandro, yeah. Yeah, they came working for a while and stuff, So tell me, what made you get into become a police officer?
Well, like I said, what happened was, I was a little rascal back in the day. You remember the days I was a little rascal?
No, I remember.
But I had, you remember. But it was like I said, I wanted to, find my purpose. And part of the whole thing was, being in the martial arts, I wanted to test out the martial arts. I wanted to see what really worked.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because, we started getting the combat. I said, well, where would I be able to test it? I mean, if I was if I was, on a daily basis was exposed to, danger at whatever level it would be, rather than having to shoot somebody, I can use unarmed, combat,
Yeah.
And man, when I got in first with the sheriffs, then I went to the police department. It was like, man, it was like nonstop, man. And it was a matter. I said, well, you know what? Some of these techniques just don't work, And it was a matter of trying to. At that point in the game, I started to refine my system that I was doing under my dad, which
Yeah.
was a mixed martial art. Back then, remember, everybody was laughing like, "Oh man, you guys do karate, kung fu, Muay Thai," and they're laughing. It's all
Yeah.
mixed. Man, now if you're not doing mixed martial arts, something's wrong with you.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But whatever, we did what we did, and then so I just refined it and came up with my own system called Shin Tai Wushu, which basically is modern combat, which is close quarter combat for cops and military. Guys basically fighting with your gun in your hand or a knife. So I just had to take those techniques, man, and just get on with it. I mean, like as a cop, I've probably been in. I made about maybe over 20,000 felony arrests, but I got to tell you, at least no less than 2,000. I had to fight dudes with knives, hatchets,
Wow.
guns. I mean, hand to hand, and just like disarm them without having to blow their caps off. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll tell you, I give you a lot of balls to go out and do that because most people don't have the balls to do it.
Right on. But it was my faith in God that helped me get through all of it. It wasn't sometimes the ego gets kicked in, the powers out of show, but for the most part, when I understand what my real purpose was, as a cop, I was able to exploit that and just be good at it.
Yeah.
Doing what I was supposed to do.
So tell me something about the undercover being an undercover officer. How was that compared to being just a regular police officer?
Well, when I got into the department early on, I was in between uniform when I was a reserve. I was uniform and plainclothes because I would work vice. I would I go out and bust the hookers, do all that kind of buy dope. I portray myself as I don't want to say a dope fiend, but a guy wants to buy some dope.
Yeah, exactly.
The hot spots and buy the dope. But when I got in on full time, same thing. I was in uniform for about I don't know, maybe almost 8-9 months. Then I get shot.
I heard that. I remember when you got shot because I heard that.
Yeah, I got shot. It basically ended my career. By one of a friend, a co-worker shot me. A karate guy, one of my karate boys, man. He was a Shotokan dude, and kind of wondered if he shot me because we used to compete against each other. But
that's why he probably shot you.
So he took me down, and then they basically said that it shattered my femur. It missed my femoral artery by like 1/8 of an inch.
Wow, you're so
lucky.
The
bone. I got a rod with nine screws along my femur and a DHS hip screw into my socket.
Oh my
gosh. So the
gosh.
doctor said, you know what, kid, give up police work and forget about martial arts because one leg will be shorter than the other one. I mean, it was like some very, very depressing news to receive. And I was like, man, I was praying. I'm like, what am I going to do, man? I just literally just started my career. And I said, you know what? I was going to let this put me down, prayed on it and stuff. And I said, you know what? I'm going to get through this. As soon as I was able to get out of the hospital, I started rehabbing on my own. I had a great doctor, Dr. Arthur Ting.
Mm-hmm.
You probably feel me. He was out of Fremont. He worked on all the Barrett Bonds and Jerry Rice. And, so he was a real good sports medicine dude and surgeon. So I just started doing my own, self-rehab. I got shot in October of 1987. I dragged myself back to work February of 1988.
Wow.
I mean, literally, my leg was still blood coming out the stitches, man. But you know what? If I didn't force myself to come back, man, I wouldn't have had an illustrious career. I'd have been sitting down taking painkillers, trying to, overcome it. But see, the thing is, they wouldn't let you work as a cop under painkillers. So I just went cold turkey and just said, you know what? I'm going to mind over matter this and just tough it out. So I did it. And I went to work uniform for a little bit more. And actually, I competed in June of '88 at the World Police Olympics in Canada. I was still hurt and in pain. I got a bronze out of there's like 200 competitors. I got a third place bronze. So that was cool. Fighting, but still my leg, man. It was.
Oh, that's because you're a true champion all the way through, from young all the way up. That doesn't go away.
Right on. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I came back. I worked uniform for another, I don't know, 6 months in and out of undercover. I still buy dope, narcotics, with in uniform, and then I went full-fledged basic undercover at the end of '89. You know, and I did that, and I was working. I worked undercover in the mob. I was doing stuff with organized crime, and you know, it got funky. But you know, it was really hard, man, because from the martial arts, you know, people recognize you, man. So I had to play it off to a T, because I was running into people, and it was like, oh shit, ain't you, you know, ain't you become a cop? So now you talking about my brother? I mean, you have to have a running story. Oh no,
yeah, of course.
So you know, you got to be quick on your feet, man. You know.
What was the most difficult situation you ever in?
Well, I mean, like I said, out of the 20,000.
Besides getting shot, obviously.
I mean, it just like, you know, there's a lot of them. I've been in a number of officer-involved shootings and survived. You know, and I mean, just like basically one-on-ones. But I tell you one, without me talking about having to shoot anybody, I had a case in Oakland, actually. This character was involved in, you know, high-level trafficking of marijuana. Now it's legal, but back then it was in 1999. So anyhow, big dude, about 5'8", about 265, football player kind of guy, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, this dude's doing stuff. He's got weapons. He said he'd never go down. So I go out there. We get a search warrant. We run out there to Oakland to go serve him. Wait for him. We know he's there, so we about to go in. Get an Oakland cop to help on the entry. There's 5 of us. I'm undercover. The Oakland guy's uniform. So as soon as we, you know, knock notice, banging on the police, open up. No response. So boom, we smash the door in. I'm number 2, so the uniform guy goes in first. All of a sudden, I see this dude emerge from a side room with a gun.
Wow.
Cocked. It's like a 6-inch 44 Magnum.
Wow.
And I go, shit, gun. And the Oakland dude jumps into the living room. So the dude spins the gun. The suspect that I got a search warrant for spins the gun to my chest. I parry the gun with my left hand, little Pac style.
Wow.
And I lock my pinky right there with a hammer. He's squeezing the hammer, trying to shoot me in my face. So I have my hand locked on the gun. I'm trying to twist it out as I'm giving him the old rich hand with my gun to his head.
Yeah.
So we're fighting in the middle of the hallway, in between. You know,
wow.
I'm hearing kids. Well, I hear the voices of kids emanating from the side room, and all I know is that, you know, for all I know, there's kids in there. If I would have just, you know, stopped, you know, bleeding from my eye because he was ramming a gun in my eye, if I just put one in his head, but I couldn't do it because I wasn't sure what was behind him.
Yeah, I got you.
The room.
Yeah.
So we start to fight. I get him towards the room. I snatch it, twist it out of his hand finally. A couple more rich hands. He drops on the ground. I'm about to, you know, take him out. And like I thought he shot my partner because, you know, everything went into slow motion.
Sure.
I see his gun drop on the floor, hammer back. I thought he blasted my partner because blood's all over the place. But it's not from my partner. It's from me because the guy shattered my right orbit.
Oh, really?
So I'm like bleeding like a stuck pig and stuff. So I put him down on the ground. I'm about to do it. And he goes, I should have killed you, cook that. You know? And I was like, then they said, Paul, stop. They pulled me back from the dude, handcuff him, and then he's in custody. So I examined the gun. It was loaded with 6 .45 rounds.
Wow.
You know, long rifles on a big old Smith & Wesson 6-inch revolver. So we got the dope. We got the gun. The guy got 10 years trigger lock. You know,
that's all you got.
I had a shattered eye socket. You know,
man. Yes,
but ultimately, I was able to, you know, from the martial arts training and discipline, I was able to disarm him without having to just end his criminal career right on the spot.
Are you glad that you're not a police officer anymore?
Oh, say it again.
Are you glad that you're not a police officer anymore?
You know, the thing is, I mean, now in this state of affairs, I mean, yeah, man, it's dangerous. I mean, for how I did policing, you know, I went after the worst of the worst, man. I mean,
I know you did.
It was like nonstop. They had a gun, they just killed somebody, or had a weapon. That was my job, to find them and put them in jail.
Yeah.
So it was an adrenaline rush, man. I can't even begin to explain, you know, the adrenaline rush that you go through when you're chasing. I'm hearing gunfire, I'm running for it, man. I'm like running right to where is it? I'm like, the adrenaline. It's like no other. Put it this way: the adrenaline is like no other drug you can imagine. Like, for instance, my pain in my legs, my pain always in my leg was consistent. As soon as the adrenaline kicked in, boom, pain disappeared. So I like strived on the adrenaline since '80. When I got shot, 87. So it was like I was like waiting for a boost. Every time a hot call came out, they said, "Oh, get this guy. He just killed 2 people. He's got an AK-47." My hand was up. I was out hunting for him. and the adrenaline was like no other. You can't compare it to drugs. It's even better than sex when it comes to that. And and then after a while, though, man, I'm telling you, like as time started as my career started to slow down, man, the withdrawals, especially having left. We finally retired after 37 years in October of last year.
Wow.
The adrenaline dump is like no other, man. I can't even explain it. That's even worse than being a junkie.
I can imagine.
You feel like like shit. You know what I mean? But it's like, as soon as something goes, I hear a siren go off, or I hear some shots, like in LA, shots are being fired all day long, everywhere, right? So I hear that sound, boom, all of a sudden adrenaline kicks in. I'm like, damn, where is it? Like I'm about to get in,
well, see, that's when years ago, when people were bringing you up, their exact words to me was, "That guy's a crazy motherfucker." He goes, he's got 2 guns in each hand, just banging away, shot and everything. He don't care. He just keeps going. Everybody told me the same thing.
Right, and that's funny that when you mentioned that, because I had 2 guns. I carried a holster with 2 guns. And I of course, I got into the movie industry later. I think we'll talk about that a little later.
Yeah.
But those holsters, my holster I gave to Denzel for training day.
Oh, you
my
did?
Lucky holsters.
Yeah, that's what I said. So tell me about the Hollywood days. What you got with Denzel, and how you got a hold of that.
Oh yeah. Okay. So what happened was, like I said, I was undercover, super undercover, doing all that kind of stuff, and it was just so happened in '95. My boss calls me in. He says, "Hey, Paul," he was in charge of handing out the permits for people that were filming in San Francisco. So he says, "Hey, Paul, you and your partner, my partner, big brother, he's half Filipino and black, ex-football player."
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "Hey, why don't you guys take my friends out for a ride along?" I go, "Really?" I go, "We're going after some killers, right?" And he goes, the boss says, "Well, they're my friends, they're journalists." I'm like, I don't think I'm going to pass on that one. I don't want to have no newspaper reporters going to where we're going to go. And it's, just do me a favor, Paul. You guys want overtime? You're going to need to do this. I'm like, oh, okay, I need some money. Let's do it. So I go meet these dudes, and I say, "Hey, you guys got vests?" Well, both 2 vests. And they go, no. So I said, "Well, you're going to need them for where we're going." So I slip them both 2 vests. We get in the car, and we start to drive to the Tenderloin. I know you're familiar with that area, right?
Yeah.
So we start to go to Tenderloin, and boom, we on view a kidnap robbery going down right in front of us. So we pull back. I get on the horn and start calling the dispatch. Hey, we got a robbery. Can you send us some units? We're in a plainclothes car. We're in a Cadillac, blah, blah, blah. So we start following the guys. They make a right, another right, and another right. Well, 4 rights later, they're looking in the rearview mirror. They know we're the police.
Yeah.
So they jump on the freeway. Boom, they're heading to Oakland. Oh, shit. So we get on I forget the guys in the back seat. So we're in a high-speed chase on the Bay Bridge going to Oakland. These guys are like, popping rounds out the window, doing all kind of crazy stuff, right? Well, I'm on 2 cell phones trying to call CHP, Oakland, just trying to get, because I know they're going to Oakland. So they take the exit off towards the Acorn Project. We take off with them. They end up smashing the car. They get outside running. We end up chasing them up, snatch them up, get the victim back. We come back with the suspect. The 2 guys that were with us was like, "Man, that was better than Bullet." And Bullet's my favorite movie.
Yeah,
right?
it was Steve McQueen.
What are you talking about? About Bullet? And he goes, "I was one of the guys who worked on it as a writer." And I go, "I thought you're a journalist." He goes, yeah, but I also work on screenplays. I'm like, "Oh, nice." We chop it up. We go back our car. It died. So I told the tow truck driver, "Let me get the other car, the suspect car, which was stolen." I hotwire it. We jump in that car, and we drive back to the city. And then we have dinner with the guys. "Nice to meet you." They take off. So about a week or so later, sometime thereafter, they come back. My boss calls in, "Hey, the guys from Hollywood are back here." I go, "Oh, wow." So we go to meet them. And next thing you know, they talk about the chase. And I'm like, "Oh," I said they recorded it. And I'm like, "Oh, I want to try to get that tape back. I don't know what I said on it, right?" And then we ended up, they saying, "Hey, we're interested in buying the rights to your life story." I thought it was set up.
Yeah.
I'm looking up at the cameras, seeing if there's cameras hidden, internal affairs and such. And they go, no, this is okay. And they go, "Well, here, we're going to have a check for like $10,000 for each of you, and just read the contract, have the lawyer look at it." I'm already signing it. Boom. I wasn't even worried about the lawyer. I wanted that $10,000.
Of course.
Say, right? So we get the loot, and then they said within, we're going to make our movie. this, that, and the other. And then every year they don't make our movie, they slip us another 10 grand, stuff like that. So it sounds good, and we're signed to Jared Bruckheimer. So next thing you know, a year passed by, no movies made, but we're working on a script. The second year we get another 10 grand, no movie yet. But I'm looking at this, the movies that are coming out under Bruckheimer, Bad Boys 1, Animated State, all the movies that we were watching had material from our scripts.
Wow.
So basically, they were stealing our scripts, our scenes. I'm like, by that time, now I have an attorney and now I have an agent. So I'm trying to buy it. 5 years later, it has now transpired. 99, I think it was. I'm trying to get out of this contract. Paramount wants to get it for $1 million, man, by the rights. I'm trying to get out of it. So my lawyer, back and forth. Finally, they come up with Disney. Say, here, look, we'll give you each 100 grand again, page, whatever, 296 paragraphs, it was some, whatever.
Yeah.
It says, we're going to pay you 100 grand, shut the fuck up. Your stuff is now on the shelf. So now we're sitting here, we got paid some good loot, and now our movie is sitting on the shelf. Well, lo and behold, I get called from my partner, Antoine Fuqua, who's a real top African-American director. But let me backtrack one before this. So right after we signed our deal, next thing you know, Hollywood starts knocking on the doors. We get called in again from our boss who says, hey, you remember Miami Vice? We go, yeah, Don Johnson. He goes, oh, yeah, he wants to ride with you guys. I'm like, hell yeah, you're Miami Vice. That's cool.
Yeah.
So he rides with us. I tell him a couple stories, and I said, but you can't use it because we're under contract with Bruckheimer. And he's like, yeah, don't worry. So we're hanging out, partying, and then in his birthday was in, I think it was January or December of 95. He says he's drunk. We're at his party, and he says, hey, you know what, boys? I'm going to name the TV series after you. My partner's name is Nash.
Oh,
and
yeah?
those two bridges. And we're like, nah, you can't do that. We're in the contract. We're all like, oh, you're like, yeah. And we thought he was joking.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't joking. And then we saw the episode, the pilot. They had one of my scenes from Chinatown, being undercover in Chinatown, and sure enough, the show was named that. So we ended up having a.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
We sued him, got some little bit of loot, but then carried on with our career. So I'll fast forward back now when we bought out. So my partner Fuqua calls me and says, hey man, I got a script we're working on about a dirty cop in LA. I go, okay, send it to me. It was called Training Day. So I look at it, real flat script. It was okay, it's about a dirty cop. It was kind of flat. The guy didn't appear to have any kind of style though. So my guy wanted me, he said, well, Denzel's interested in working with you. And he likes your style, your get down, dialogue, dress, all that. I was kind of like a muse. So we worked together for a period of time. I pumped up the script a little bit more, changed dialogue. So, the Alonzo character, Denzel's character, would be more up to speed, what I mean, on, the street life talk and, all that good stuff, especially as being an undercover cop. And then I gave him my holsters, the 2-gun holsters. I told him it was my lucky holsters. He was going to be guaranteed to win himself an Academy Award. He was like, nah, he was laughing. We laughed. And I said, look, I'm going to bet you that ring.
He did, didn't he? Didn't he win one?
When I won.
Yeah.
So after that, we went on to work on a bunch of other movies, Tears of the Sun, Brooklyn's Finest. I did Fight Scene 2 for Equalizer 1 and 2, Magnificent 7, and there's a whole bunch of slew of other movies that I worked on as a consultant because I thought to become what they're known as a script doctor. So I'd come in there and I just work on a script and just get paid for that, just to change it, as well as doing the technical advising for like the fight scenes, the gun scenes, things of that nature. But I was lucky though. During the course of that, I was able to do it while I was in the police department. Unfortunately, with San Francisco Police Department, I ended up leaving. I resigned after 25 years in 2008.
Yeah.
And from there, I went out. I did some little training, a little work with Blackwater, and then I didn't want to lose out on my credentials, so I got hired. I learned of a department up in Sacramento called Cal Expo, and I got hired on as a gang officer. So I stayed there for 10 years until I retired as a police sergeant, and then I got hired just before that, like in 2017 with Santa Clara Police Department as a special offense police officer. So I worked all the gang stuff at the game and whatever other special events they had. And then finally, October 2020, I finally, pulled the plug, and I was let go from there, and boom, I was there 37 years.
Well, that's pretty good. So tell me about your book.
Well, I came out with my book. It's called Officer 1 EIGHT7, or Officer 187. Yeah. 187 is the California Penal Code for murder, and that was my police star number while I was with San Francisco.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So,
Yeah, so
and you have all the good details and everything in that book.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can get it. I have it on Amazon, Google. You can also my website. People can buy it on my website. And it basically it discusses my trials and tribulations as an undercover cop, and then what got me through my faith, my family, and also it touches upon I'm sure you remember my mom, my dad.
Yeah,
I
100%.
talked about that. So you get a little preview of what made Paul Lozada and how I evolved into policing as an undercover cop.
Yeah. How did this all those undercover stuff do for your family life part of it though? 'Cause I know sometimes it's hard to do both.
Exactly. Well, it has its good and its bad. I mean, mostly the fact that I was, as a father, I wasn't with the kids as much as I could be because I was out working. When you're working undercover, man, you can't engage in like normal family activities, man. Because I lived in the city, so it's kind of like I'm like ducking and diving. I make an appearance and bounce out real quick. Anything in the public's eye, I had to, limit my exposure because it would jeopardize my family. Family meant everything.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And it was a matter of, trying to, walk on, thin ice. It was very difficult. So, I was always in alert mode all the time. Because I had a number of death threats placed on me. Guys wanted to kill me. There were numerous attempts on my life.
I can imagine.
When you're going after hardcore dudes and put them away, or getting in shootings with them, they're homies and everybody else. They develop an animosity toward you, and especially if they get a shot at the title, they want to take me out. They're going to try to take me out. So
I'd still be worried about that.
Situation early on.
I'd still be worried about that if I was you.
Oh yeah, absolutely, brother. I still, even in LA, man, I run into people down in LA, all over. So it's a constant. It was a choice I made in life, and the thing is, being a cop, I was serving. Ooh, sorry about that. I was serving the Lord, doing His will on the streets. He gave me the ability to do it. So and along with that came the danger aspect.
Yeah. Well, of course. So tell me, what's the next chapter in Grandmaster Paul Lozada's life?
Well, now I've actually, of course, I'm promoting the book. I'm working on another 2 features and working on getting a TV series with it in San Francisco. I'm going to come out with another book, but I've actually got in with partnered with another company. Actually, it's called Punch King World, which basically took the regular, workout bag, the freestanding, and they made it or configured it in such a fashion that you can do hooks, uppercuts, knee strikes. When you knee strike an Everlast bag, half the time you're worried about displacing your kneecap.
Yeah.
Well, the bag is designed so you can't. It's made for a knee. It's made for a hook.
Sure.
So when I partnered up with this, I tested the bags out and said, you know what, this is solid. I like it. And also for the police combatives to be able to use it for close quarter combat, because that's what's going on now, which is a problem. You're getting all these cops, and because I used to teach at the academy, defensive tactics, and all that. These people now, a lot of these cops, they've never been in a fight in their whole life, man. So the fact of the matter is, they don't really. If number one, you don't understand de-escalation. How you gonna talk to anybody? So the moment you get to a scene, it's already a volatile situation. So your adrenaline's already pumping up. Next, you get socked in the face. You can't fight. What do? You go for your gun.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, and unless you're really willing to use it, and the elements exist that you are required to defend yourself or use deadly force, and those elements do not exist, and you end up popping off a cap, man, that's your job. And it's happened too frequently in the last few years because the police are basically, they're getting stripped of any and all powers, limited powers that they have to operate as a police officer. You take that away, you really don't have anything. And plus the fact that you have no training, no physical training. They give you 4 months, not even 4 months, maybe 4 weeks in academy to learn how to physically defend yourself, and you're going to be thrust in the street after 8 months and expect to be able to survive. It ain't working. And then everybody pushes now. They have some guy saying, "Oh, now to be a cop, you need a blue belt in jiu-jitsu." And we're stand-up fighters, man. Of course, we can go down to the jiu-jitsu and all that.
Sure.
But in reality, if you look at it as a cop, you got a uniform and a gun belt with all that gear. Do you want to be on your back trying to do jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I used to teach the lieutenant of the Alameda County Sheriff's Department, Ray Tucker. I don't know if you know Ray Tucker.
Yeah, yeah, I heard of him.
Yeah, but I think his brother was an undersheriff and stuff. But anyway, he came with me and his son, and they got their black belts, and he would send over a lot of the police officers for me to train, or the ones that are going through the to become a police officer, even the girls. Now the girls, to be honest with you, most of the time they came in there just to hang out with the guys and stuff like that and flirt, and stuff like that. But I'd say out of 10 people that came, probably 3 stayed. The other ones just kind of they couldn't handle the sparring, and exercises were too hard. And I was like, "You're gonna be a police officer, and you're gonna chase somebody around the block, and you came and do the exercises here." It's kind of sad.
Right?
Yeah.
It's real bad. And, so now they're requiring them, they're saying, oh, get a blue belt. So basically, they're going to spend, I don't know what it takes now to get a blue belt, 8 months to a year to get a blue belt. And then that still don't guarantee that they're going to be able to defend themselves. You know what I mean? You got to know how to strike.
Well, of course.
You know what I mean?
It takes a long time.
Man, 'cause I see it in the jiu-jitsu with the BJJ. I'm not knocking nobody because I got partners that do it. And, I double down. I learned jiu-jitsu, up top jiu-jitsu and judo. So, and the real jiu-jitsu, man, was a hard thought. You were striking people in jiu-jitsu. It wasn't just all judo. Judo was the softer version of jiu-jitsu, which when they made it sport. But the guys that I learned jiu-jitsu from, they were like, they were going they're hitting right in the, karate, boom. Then they spin your neck around. Then sotogari. I mean, it was like some hardcore jiu-jitsu. But now, they, I understand you need to know when you're on your back how to fight. But man, I mean, if you're not a fighter to begin with, and if you train it, your muscle memory is going to bring you right to your back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's not going to be that's not a favorable position, especially as a cop, and you're around 4 or 5 other people.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah.
I think you'd be better off in this day and age just running.
Yeah. I mean, some of the girls that came in the studio to become police officers, I'm not gonna lie, not because they're girls, because I don't go there, but. I laughed to myself because I'm thinking to myself, what the hell are you going to do if 3 dudes jump you and you're a police officer and your partner? Unless you pull your gun or your taser them, but in a fist fight, they're not going to be able to take out a big dude like that, or that guy that you had with the gun and stuff. I wouldn't want her. I wouldn't want them backing me.
Right, you're absolutely right, and it's like it's unfortunate, but I mean, as a trainer, and you as an instructor, which you've seen it, because you have thousands of students, man,
sure.
So
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is that it's a mindset, man. I mean, like this. I think as an officer, I had seen a clip of it in which I think it was in San Francisco. This big guy just started pummeling her. She had a beanbag gun, and she brought it out like the guy's looking at you. You ain't gonna shoot me. And boom, he went after her, man, and just took her down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like unbelievable, man.
That's
and they don't fear the police now, man, because they know the cops ain't gonna do anything.
No.
I mean, it's blatant, man. It's just horrible.
So on your book, so the audience knows, so you can get it on Amazon, and if you give me your link and everything, I'll put it on Kajukenbo Live, and that way when people watch this interview, they'll be able to click the link and order your book too.
Absolutely. I mean, the website link, I'll just tell you, is www.officer, then it's spelled out 1EIGHT7.com.
Yeah.
And if any of my fellow Kajukenbo partners, they would order, I'll just tell them to make a little note. I'll make sure that distribution center pulls it, and I can sign something special for my Kaju brothers. You know what I mean? Yeah,
you better sign a good one for me because I want to put it in my collection.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah, I remember, man. Because my dad was good friends with Adriano,
sure.
Castro and all them cats. And I remember when back in the early '70s, man, Adriano came. He stayed at our house for about 2 weeks. Brought his son Clarence, and I got to train with Clarence.
Yeah.
So he was a bit older than me, but it was great, man. Having
Yeah, last time I seen Clarence was probably about 3 years ago. We were in Hawaii, and he had me teach one of his seminars in Hawaii, and I did that. And
nice.
We sat and ate with him and stuff, and he bought, beer and that pokey stuff. It was pretty good.
Nice.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this interview up, and I really, it's an honor for me to have you on this interview.
And it's the same here. It's an honor too, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, we've known each other for years and years and years, so, like I said, I followed your story for years, and just you said you're a hell of a good guy, Anyway,
I
this is
appreciate that, brother.
all right, man. Anyway, this is Kajukenbo Live. I'm Senior Grandmaster Jimenez. We just had a great interview with Grandmaster Paul Lozada. And make sure you get his book on Amazon. And when you watch this video, I'll have all the information on there so you can order it. It's a great book, and don't miss out. Thank you, and I'll talk to you again.
Thank you, brother.